Well, to talk about what the Catalan separatists actually want, I'm delighted to welcome Luís Sargento Freitas. He's a researcher at the University of Vizcaya. Welcome to TVP World. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Good day. Thank you for the invitation. Just a small correction. I know it's a difficult name to say. It's at the University of Uvascula. I know it's a difficult name to say.
Thank you for helping me out. Uvascula. I'll promise to do it better next time.
Yes. Firstly, let me bring out some of the main issues in Spain and Catalonia beyond the independentist question. That are important topics of discussion that will for sure be debated and can influence voting behavior. As we know, there is also a housing crisis in Catalonia, and the local government has recently put a cap on rent increases. This kind of measures create many doubts on whether it can effectively improve people's lives or if it will actually lead to fewer houses in the market being rented or even built. The Minister of Housing in Spain, who is Esther Capella, has been negotiating this new package with the local government in Catalonia. And Catalonia is, I believe, the only government in Spain that has effectively introduced rent controls that are allowed ever since the introduction of the new housing law in April 2023. Another important problem in Catalonia and even Spain is the recent drought crisis. The amount of rainwater has been declining significantly in recent months. Let us remember that just this January and February, Catalonia faced a crisis-like situation as water levels went far below the social necessities, up to the point where citizens were forced to severely reduce their water usage, and there were even plans for Portugal to send some water to Spain via ship. There are also other issues with health and the National Health Service, and also the National Health Service in Catalonia, the cost of living as well, and of course the topic that is ever present nowadays in practically any election in the EU, which is security and immigration. This whole situation is quite complicated. In my personal opinion, I would believe that not just Spain and Catalonia, but many other countries would benefit from an open list system of political representation, so that people would be able to vote for not only for the party, but for specific individual in their elections, in the voting paper, in the voting ballot. This would allow also some better analysis on how people feel about certain people that are very controversial, for example, Puigdemont and others, and would give not only analysts but the general population as well a better view on how people perceive these topics, not only at the party level, but also at the individual personal level. This is, of course, something that would require great parliamentary support in Spanish Parliament and also in the Catalonian Parliament. Of course, it would be a very big change.
Yes, but do you think that would influence? I mean, how do you think people feel in Catalonia right now about separatism? From the numbers I've read, they don't have a majority. Is that right?
I would say so. Yeah, they don't have a majority. Of course, every election is its own election. We will see how the voting behaviors will materialize. But yes, because I believe that there are also many divorces inside the independentist movements and also the anti-independentist movements. There's also divorces there. So there's not only the classical left-right divisions. There's also the divisions in terms of separation versus continuation. So It's a very complicated issue, and also I believe there's at the individual level, at certain political representation level, and also at the individual level, there are also cases where it's hard. It's sometimes hard to analyze this due to the fact that there are so many cleavages, social and political cleavages, and even sometimes economic cleavages.
Right.
So
well, you mentioned economic cleavages. I mean, one of the arguments that the separatists have put forward is that they're giving more to Spain than they are getting from it. Now, we saw from the numbers that my colleague Kazimierz Wissak just laid out for us, although it does seem to contribute a disproportionate amount to the rest of Spain, Catalonia also receives an enormous level of support from the EU, which it wouldn't have if it weren't an integral member of the country.
Yes, and leaving Spain would create such a division, such a divorce, that it would even distort the European Union institutions up to the point that it could be a region that would be even outside of the EU. And the experience of divorcing the EU is quite problematic, as we see with Brexit. So I would hope that that the situation remains has some control, some debate, some democratic debate, so that the moods are calm, let's say, so that no strong divorces are created that can create economic problems and social problems,
right,
which are possible.
Well, you mention breaking up of the European Union as a risk and citing Brexit, but of course the United Kingdom has a similar issue or potential issue with Scotland, which is often holding referendums or referenda to break away from the United Kingdom. Do you think that there's a risk that this might, if it were to succeed, might be contagious across Europe?
It's definitely a possibility. There are many. The majority of countries in the EU are quite strong in their political systems and democracy, but you never know up to what point this kind of event could create. So I think it's important to create bridges, to create debate, and to make sure that the democracy and the will of the people is taken by national and EU institutions, obviously.
Right.
So we'll see up to what point the voting behavior will materialize tomorrow. And then a greater analysis can be made. But it definitely is an issue that is very interesting for academia and for any kind of study, because it involves a lot of variables and sub-variables.
Exactly. Lots of moving parts there, Luís. Unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there. Of course, we'll be watching the situation very carefully, and we hope you'll come back and see us again shortly and share your thoughts on how things work out. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.